You wouldn't expect one of the world's most influential role models for young women to be a teenager in a military uniform, let alone a royal one. But here she is, Princess Leonor of Spain. At just 19 years old, she's not walking red carpets or living behind palace walls. She's waking up at dawn, sleeping in hammocks aboard naval ships, and marching through the mud at military academies. And strangely enough, she's not just capturing headlines. She's capturing hearts, especially among young women across Spain and beyond. This is more than royal tradition. This is something cultural. Something symbolic. Some are even calling it Leonormania. It started quietly, like most things of real significance do. In 2023, Princess Leonor began a 3-year journey through Spain's military education system, the same path her father, King Felipe VI, took years earlier. Her training is intense. Year 1, the Army. Year 2, the Navy. Year 3, the Air Force. It's not ceremonial. She's not being saluted from balconies. She's studying weapons systems, leadership, strategy. She's participating in physical endurance drills, and yes, she's even been aboard the Juan Sebastián de Elcano, the Spanish Navy's legendary training ship, where she followed the same routine as every other cadet. No royal treatment. No soft pillow. Just service. And suddenly, something interesting began to happen. Not just because she's royal, or because she wears the uniform well. They noticed because she's taking on something most people, let alone someone with her privilege, would never choose. In fact, since Leonor started her training, Spain's armed forces have seen a 12% rise in female enlistment. That's not a coincidence. When asked, some of these young recruits directly named Leonor as their inspiration. For them, she's not just a princess. She's proof. Proof that women can lead. Proof that strength isn't just physical. Proof that femininity and leadership are not opposites. They see themselves in her. Not because they dream of crowns, but because they dream of purpose. The media quickly caught on. Headlines started appearing in Spain and abroad. One British paper dubbed her Princess Top Gun. Others called her the Royal Cadet. But the real title being whispered across classrooms, on social media, and in barracks. The wave of admiration was soon dubbed Leonormania. And while that might sound like pop culture fluff, what's happening is anything but. Leonor is becoming a symbol, especially to young women, of a new kind of royalty. Not one that rules from above, but one that stands beside. And it matters, especially in a world where young women are still asking the hard questions. Can I be taken seriously if I lead? Can I be respected without losing my voice? Can I be strong, and still be me? Through grit, discipline, and quiet confidence, Leonor is answering. Yes. Yes. And absolutely, yes. Now, let's be fair. The path hasn't been perfect. And she's not immune to criticism. Some media outlets have reported that her training is lighter than that of her peers. That she's struggled with the most physically demanding drills. That she's received verbal warnings from instructors for staying behind during certain field exercises. Critics say it proves she's being protected. Supporters say it proves she's human. And perhaps, both things are true. After all, her training is customized, but not to shield her. It's to prepare her. She's not being trained to fight in the trenches. She's being trained to lead the people who do. And that leadership, real, earned leadership, comes with its own kind of weight. Because make no mistake, Leonor isn't just playing soldier. She is preparing to become Spain's commander-in-chief. She'll be the first woman to hold that title in Spain's modern history. And when that day comes, she won't be wearing a tiara. She'll be carrying decades of tradition, expectation, and responsibility, not just as a monarch, but as a role model. That's why this story resonates far beyond Spain. Online forums from Latin America to Europe have begun celebrating Leonor as a modern icon. TikToks comparing her to fictional heroines go viral. Royal watchers are calling her the first monarch of the digital age who understands both duty and influence. She's being watched not because she's glamorous, but because she's grounded. And in a time when leadership is often performative, that kind of authenticity is rare. What's even more remarkable is that Leonor isn't seeking the spotlight. She doesn't use social media. She rarely gives interviews. And yet, she's becoming one of the most influential young women in Europe, not through self-promotion, but through self-discipline. She's proving that you don't have to shout to lead. Sometimes, the quietest footsteps leave the deepest mark. So here's what it comes down to. Princess Leonor's journey isn't just about preparing for a crown. It's about how one young woman in uniform is showing millions of others that strength and softness, duty and identity, tradition and progress, can all exist in the same person. She's not just changing how people see royalty. She's changing how young women see themselves. Not as spectators, but as leaders. And maybe, that's the most powerful legacy of all.